turned 6 today, so she's in the building. She's celebrating Vaughn Ginn Jr. because guess what? Old Captain Clutch Kick is back. Formula Drift, he took a year off, but comes back at it with our #1 qualifier, and he's going against Robert Thorne, a.k.a. the Thorn Dog. Here we go. Your big initiation there from that Monster Energy Nitto tire. Mustang RTR Spec 5 FD. Pulls away from Robert Thorne. Thorne, I was talking to him earlier in the driver's meeting. Vaughn does get into the dirt. Looks a little more brocky than his Ford Mustang. Talking about that Ultra 4 racing that he's been doing with him and his Lauren Healy teammate, RTR. All right, transitioning now back up to the clip. Robert Thorne had such a knockout season in pro spec. Do you think it's going to apply here to pro? I mean, he's going against a 2-time champion, 2010, 2020, and here he comes in. Welcome to pro. Here's a 2-time champ, Vaughn Ginn Jr.
Yeah, Vaughn gets that car to initiation really nicely, gets by inside clip 1, but Robert Thorne can't hang through turn number 1. You can see he kind of went off course there. Vaughn leaves outside zone 1 a little early, drops a tire as he enters outside zone 2, but gets back online, gets nice and tight on inside clip number 2. Down the hill, Vaughn does a good job of not dropping the tire on the grass, exiting the horseshoe, and has a great line through inside clip number 3 to the finish. You can see there, Thorne was trying to catch up. Vaughn was not trying to get away. Vaughn filled all the zones for the most part, got the car where he needed to be, and did a good job in the lead run. In the chase there, you can see that Robert definitely fell off on initiation and never really caught back up.
He was talking in the driver's meeting, that's what I was trying to get at there during the run, but he says that, you know, obviously with pro spec and then going to pro, he's got more tire, but it just changes going from day to night. But right now, it's obviously clear as day, it's warm, you know, the grip does grip up, so changes throughout the day. Again, a traditional road racer, but now he's looking strong up front. Robert Thorne, Vaughn Ginn Jr. slides to the side of him. Look at that. The intergalactic planetary. Look at that. Looks like a BC boy for sure. Gets to the side of Thorne into that second inside clip. Now outside of that keyhole, rips it around, down back the hill, past that touch and go, and there is the last inside clip. I'll tell you what, Vaughn comes back in spades in that Monster Energy Ford Mustang Nitto tire RTR Spec 5D.
You can tell here that Vaughn's got the faster car as he's coming down to initiation behind Robert Thorne. It's almost like he's holding himself back a bit. On initiation, Vaughn is right there with Thorne. You see on the transition, Vaughn gets his car positioned nicely coming up the hill. Slight bobble from Vaughn. He's not going fully deep in zone 1, but he's right there on zone 2. You can see him positioned really nicely. Look at the smoke lines. They're matching up perfectly there. Vaughn does drop a tire leading the horseshoe, gets on the rumble strip with Robert Thorne. Coming through the touch and go area, it drops off ever so slightly as they cross the finish line. But look at this car positioning here from Vaughn coming up the hill. Beautiful job here. Just doesn't go quite as deep as Thorne in outside zone number 1, but does a great job in outside zone 2. You can see his positioning. He never let Robert Thorne get out of his sights until right after this downhill section here. Right on the transition through the smoke, I think Vaughn was blinded right there, and he backed off just a little bit for safety's sake, because we did see somebody transition a little late yesterday and end up in that wall. So I think that was a safe move from Vaughn just to keep himself safe.
Did you expect this? Vaughn Ginn Jr. gets the Las Vegas, Nevada. Sorensen will lead as Brandon Sorensen qualified 16th, Alec Robbins 17th, fairly equally matched. Brandon Sorensen coming into view. Down the hill, Brandon, Ty Alec a little bit looser there. You saw he slid past Brandon Sorensen. High flying Sorensen into that second outside zone. Barely gets that front end of the outside zone into inside clip 2. Now transitioning back down the hill. Past that touch and go, and then into inside clip 3. There goes Sorensen and Robbins back up the hill. Sorensen, good execution. Robbins maybe got a little bit lost in the smoke. What are your thoughts there, Ryan?
Well, I'm going to focus a lot on the hesitation that Sorensen had at the top of the hill just before outside zone 2. So as we look at the initiation, you can see that in the chase position there, Robbins had a bit of a hesitation in the lead. Sorensen's doing a great job. At that point, you can see that Robbins fell off a little bit. Right here, it looks like Sorensen was going to go wide after outside zone 1, maybe stayed on throttle a little too long, and his line wasn't perfect going towards outside zone 2, so he had to slow the car down more than he wanted to, and you can see that it hurt his line from the beginning of outside zone 2 to inside clip 2. He got in the box early, but left it immediately, so that's going to be a bit of a detriment to Sorensen's run there, missing outside zone number 2 and having that big hesitation up there. So what does Robbins have to do now? Run a smoother line from zone 1 to zone 2 up here, and that'll give him a huge advantage lead-to-lead comparison.
I mean, you as a judge, is that kind of what you're focusing on? It's so blatantly right in front of you as a judge. Mind you, we're kind of referencing the screen just so the viewer can kind of see what we're talking about if something's off screen, but traditionally they're right there. Is that a place that's really heavily focused on?
Huge, because commitment is key coming up that hill.
Here we go. Alec Robbins out front. He gets the security, saw a little brown cloud. Now they're going to run up the hill. Let's see if he executes what you're talking about, Ryan. Gets in that first outside zone, into the second outside zone. Boom. He does exactly what you said. Fills about 3/4 of that thing. Tightens it up to inside clip 2. Now exiting out. Really well done there. Brandon Sorensen, you thought he was going to hit the dirt, but it seems like that front left is back to Alex Robbins, I mean, maybe a spotter did a good job. Maybe he just knew already, or instinctively, he just knew what he needed to get done.
Yeah,
that was really well done by Alex.
He did a good job through outside zone 1 and 2. Let's look at it from the drone. That's going to give us a whole different perspective. What I'm looking at now is it looked like Sorensen had a failure to initiate there originally. It took him a long time to get the car to angle. That's going to be a big problem on him for his chase run. You can see Robbins getting all the way up to zone 2. He didn't have to really work the car up there either. He just let it kind of float up the hill because he had momentum built up through outside zone 1, and he used that to fill that zone 2 area, which is what we want to see. So I think that I'm not able to talk to the judges right now, but I would say that hesitation on initiation is going to hurt Sorensen in the chase-to-chase comparison.
And it bears repeating, Ryan Lontaine, my co-host here, is doing double duty. He is judging, he is announcing alongside Brian Egger and Chris Yule. This year, we have implemented 4 judges, 3 of which are on at the event. The other judge is assisting in the driver steward duties whenever there's a protest or an issue that needs to be rectified. So again, our 4 judging panel, 3 will be implemented. Robbie Nishida, Brian Egger, Chris Yule, Ryan Lontaine. This particular round, Chris Yule, Brian Egger, Ryan Lontaine are our 3 judges. Throughout the entirety of the season, Sean Adriano will be, again, the driver steward, conversing with them if any scenarios shall unfold. All right, Rockstar Energy Drink Top 32, Brandon Sorensen, the United States Air Force BMW, does not move on, unfortunately. Alec Robbins gets the win, and the Mr. Cool BMW gaining a new title sponsor, laid over that nice carbon Kevlar kit, but right now, Kazuya Taguchi, ISR Performance, up garage, GT Radial 86. Ooh, a little correction there. That was an interesting one. Oh boy! All right, this could get hairy.
I think
Kazuya Taguchi is DB'd.
See that right rear? I think he DB'd on initiation, and that's what caused that issue. And he's still trying to get through the course.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a tire.
So Ryan pointed out that Kazuya could have DB'd on initiation, causing the correction, the snapback, and then Jonathan Hurst getting into the side of him, because very uncharacteristic of Kazuya to kind of have that snapback. So let's slow it down. Let's take a look.
It's something that happened yesterday in Prospect too.
Yep.
Somebody initiated too early, hit the edge of the rumble strip, and tore the tire off the wheel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you could hear it. So that is, I believe, what happened there. The tire came off, and he lost traction and the ability to get the car moving forward. So see right there, you saw the tire pop off, and right now he has no tire on the right rear. So right there you can see it flopping around.
Yeah, you can see it flopping.
Yeah, so that'll be on Kazuya Taguchi in that section for making that error. It's not an error he made it personally, but it's a mechanical issue caused by going off the track on initiation. We tell them they can use the rumble strip, but you don't want to get on the rumble strip until just after it starts, because simply initiating on what we consider the track surface, so he's not allowed to replace that tire, unfortunately. So here is Jonathan Hurst on his bye run. And
this is a great car to lay out and listen to, the Mr. Cool Cash Racing BMW. Listen to this thing, pop and bang. Jonathan Hurst makes his way into the top 16. Congratulations, the Royal Purple top 16. Congratulations to, again, Jonathan Hurst. We'll see him up in the mix for top 16. Who's he going to go against? It's either Matt Field or...
I have not, Jared.
Watch them, they're fun.
Maybe I should check it out.
Yeah, it's kind of wild time. I know you don't drink, but you might want to after that. Matt Field, he's ready to throw down. Here we go. Matt Field, big initiation from him. Into that first inside. Whoa! Deep Carnage comes out of angle, gets into the kitty litter. Matt Field does continue on. Matt Field continues on into that second outside zone. He does throw some dirt. GT Radio, a little gravel machine gun. Unfortunately, Dean Carney made that mistake very early on. As long as Matt Field keeps it with the rubber meets the road, which he does, that will be a major advantage for the Beast from the Bay.
Yeah, that was a big mistake from Dean Carney there. After initiation, it looked like the car understeered. The car went straight, went into the gravel a little bit, but managed to get back on the track. So let's look at what happened. You see Dean pulling on the angle, and right there, the rear grips up, the front does not anymore, so the car washes out. He ends up in the gravel a little bit. In the lead position, though, Matt Field is doing an excellent job of placing his car where he needs to, just a little bit off of that inside clip, but a great job in outside zone number 2. Gets the front bumper hanging over the touch-and-go area there and gets relatively close to inside clip 1. But way back, you can see Dean. Intuitive, that's the word. It just has to be what you do, without any thought. So it has to be as easy as walking.
Here we go, Dean Carney. Speaking of walking down the hill, Matt Field initiates. He knows he's got a little bit of an advantage here. And with Dean Carnage washing out on that first run, he might pedal it back, temper the flame, turn it down to about a 7.5 or 8, and there he goes into the dirt. We did see that from Field earlier, but with Dean Carney going off course earlier, he knows he has that advantage. Oh, big snap there from Carnage. Heads up the hill, puts a little exclamation point on that run, but unfortunately with him having that incomplete on that first run, going off course, getting into the kitty litter, that is not a fresh step, unfortunately, in the kitty litter there. Matt's going to win.
Yeah, you could tell Matt was playing it safe here. He knew he didn't have to push 100%, but he was still within proximity. He was in striking distance. He's right there following the line that Dean Carney's putting down. Dean does drop a tire in the dirt here, and Matt just sort of lays back and stays in outside zone 2. But you can see that Matt's not letting him getting away. You can see the line that Dean Carney ran, leaving the heel, is exactly what we want to see. He was sort of mid-track there. He gave Matt Field the perfect opportunity to stay online and not drop a tire himself.
Make it official, slide him left for Matt Field in that Corvette, the Borla exhaust. Heat Wave, Lean Customs, GT.
It just felt good, last year, step back and just kind of breathe a bit and watch and study and, come out here and just drive my heart out. And it's really cool. It's a very different perspective. I'm not thinking about Irwindale right now. I'm not being as strategic as I normally would be. I'm just in the moment, every run, throwing it out there as hard as I can. It feels incredible, like the vibe, the fans, the love that I'm receiving right now, and on social and just coming back. I'm really grateful. And my goal tonight is to represent for our team, represent for our partners, and represent for all you that are just giving the love.
Well, I can hear some cars in the burnout box, so Vaughn, thank you so much. And he was very sure to make sure that he told me how much and how grateful he was for all the fans and his support coming back to Atlanta. Jared, Brian.
Thank you so much, Lorette Nickel there, as we are seeing Darren Kelly from New Zealand in that Aston Martin going against Ulla Jaeger, that Japan Auto Mark IV Super. Let's take a look at it again as we heard the love and the affirmation that Von Gittin Jr. had. We'll run it back once again just to walk us through that run there, Ryan. But at first glance, what do you see?
Well, you can see that Dean Kelly in the chase position there is Kelly, sorry. Darren is very comfortable in this Aston Martin now. You can see that he's coming into his own in this car as he's putting together a great chase run behind Ulla, who's, you can see, missing outside zone 2 there. He didn't get all the way out to that zone, but Darren Kelly is right there with him. Watch as really, really gets close here right before the transition at the finish line.
Boom.
Beautiful job by him in this car positioning, and he's putting together a chase run that we haven't seen from him in Formula Drift. I know he competes at different areas around the world in different championships, but in this car specifically in FD US, he's had some struggles. It's been a challenge developing this car from a road racing car to a drift car, but it seems like they're really figuring it out.
You're talking about Darren Kelly and the Aston Martin, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah. So Darren Kelly from New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yes, sir. Darren Kelly out front, the heart of racing, which both does road racing as well as obviously drifting. Darren Kelly, a great ambassador for not only Aston Martin heart of racing, but also New Zealand. So look at that, pulling away. Ulla Jaeger, Japan Auto, another Norwegian driver, that Mark IV Super, great looking car. Darren Kelly looking really good, and just such a beautiful exhaust note, right? I mean, you gotta love an exotic out here on track, and now brings around that final clip. Ulla Jaeger didn't look 100%, both on that lead run and in that chase run, and I think that allowed Darren to really have and show that he has the proximity, he has the driving prowess, could have that control. Let's run it back and let's look at it again.
Yeah, listening to that V12 scream is really nice. I think he can rev more, and it probably should. It sounds like he's bouncing off the rev limiter, but car looking great here as he gets the car initiated. Ula's got a couple of car lengths between him and Darren, and he needs to close that up. You can see him taking the touch and go marker with him. Darren goes a lot deeper in outside zone number 2 than Ula did on his chase. And right here you can see Darren just pulling away from Ula. Not cheating too much. You can see he missed outside or the touch and go there a little bit, so he should have been a little bit tighter there. But Darren's on throttle. He's not, having any issues with commitment. He's not cheating the line too much there. It was just a little bit of an error on the touch and go area.
The heart of racing, Aston Martin, lives to see another day. Darren Kelly advances on a 16. Ula Jaeger, unfortunately, is knocked out.
Vehicle of choice, but this was a big jump, I think, for him to such a high horsepower car.
Here we go. Diego Higa will lead. Taylor Hull giving chase. I mean, come on. He's practically wearing a cowboy hat in the cockpit of that Corvette. Diego Higa initiates into that first inside flip. Let's see how Higa handles it. Taylor Hull needs to gain some ground here. He gets very disrupted by going off course. Higa goes in that second outside zone. Taylor Hull does gain some ground with his Kenda tires, ripping up into that second. Oh, and Diego Higa shuts it down. That's going to be an incomplete. You see his hand go out the window. Yeah, that will be a massive incomplete there for Diego Higa. A big advantage for the Corvette.
I'd be surprised if that car came back out on track, Jared.
Yeah.
You could tell coming down the hill it didn't have the power that it's supposed to, and that's probably why they called their competition timeout earlier. I imagine the car was having some kind of issue that they tried to fix, and it looks like they did not fix it. The car's having some issues making power, it looks like. He barely got around this first inside clip, and then coming up the hill you can see the car straighten up quite a bit, and I think it's definitely having a mechanical issue that they haven't quite fixed. So he doesn't have a competition timeout left, unfortunately. That car may be what holds him back from competing any longer here in round 2.
Yeah, I'm looking over at his spotters over here in the spotters tower. They're shaking their heads, frustration. They're wearing it, they're not wearing it well, and you could just see the frustration both with the car on the track and their spotters over here. So unfortunately, with the competition time out called, and then insult to injury, it not being 100%. So unfortunately, looks like Diego Higa, he's just gonna rip around.
That was a restart, Jared. I don't know, something with Taylor Hull, because Taylor Hull's the one that controls the restart in this situation, being the lead driver. The chase can leave early if they want to. So I don't know what occurred there. Maybe he didn't even leave the line, so potentially it was because he did not leave when the light went off when he was supposed to. Typically the restarts can be because he jumped the light, parked on the light, or hit a cone. And if he didn't leave the line at all, it tells me that he didn't leave the line when he was supposed to.
All right, so interesting there for Taylor Hull and Diego Higa. Taylor Hull has a major advantage here, that Comp Cam's Corvette. So Diego, oh, he's leaving just way early. Taylor's like, whoa, that's way early. But that's yeah, I think Diego's just gonna go through the course. Maybe shake things down and see what's going on. Hopefully, just not 100% on power. All right, so Taylor Hull, as long as he completes the course. Taylor Hull in the Comp Cams Corvette gets the win. Your Georgia boy advances on into the top 16. Congratulations. Christos Blush had to go to his Q2 run in that HGK GT radio vehicle. Ryan Turk, Rain-X, Toyota GR Corolla, banging doors in the Rockstar Pilot on some Ditto tires. But Ryan Turk continues on in that Toyota GR Corolla, gets that second outside zone, gets into the dirt. Christos Blush getting aggressive. Ryan Turk counters back outside of the keyhole. Wow, Christos making his presence felt after 5 years of absence. I'll tell you what, that was not that. I mean, Ryan went off in that second outside zone, but for him to kind of hold tough and hang tough like New Kids on the Block, that was pretty solid of Ryan Turk.
Yeah, that looked like a pretty good hit at inside clip number 1. Let's look at it from the drone to see exactly how hard it was. So right there he gets bumped, but Turk stays in it, comes up the hill on throttle. You can see in the chase position there, right here, Turk goes a little bit long before outside zone 2, drops a tire, Kristaps is right there to take advantage of it. He's not giving Ryan an inch. They both drop a tire coming out of the keyhole onto the downhill area, and you can see Kristaps putting on so much pressure. We knew this is what it was going to be from Kristaps. Right here's the bump. So you can see right there the bump, and then Turk has a very slight bobble. He controlled it very well. You can see a big mark in his driver's door from Kristaps. And then right here, Turk goes a little bit long, leaves outside zone 1 early, goes real deep in outside zone 2. Kristaps gives him another bump before inside clip number 2. And Kristaps keeps just knocking on his door. And I think part of Kristaps' his plan here, maybe his strategy, is to disrupt Turk a little bit. Hey, I'm here. Hey, hey, look, don't worry, I'm right here. I'm not letting you go.
Mom, what? Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, look at that. So there we talked earlier about Kazuya Taguchi, hitting that rumble strip. You saw Ryan get into it. The Nitto tires held on. So Ryan.
Yeah, so this is a contact situation where no incomplete was given to either driver, so both.
A really fun one to watch if they show up, like I know they can. Let's see what we got. Mike Power initiates. Daniel Stuckey, a little handbrake pull there from Power. He powers out into that inside clip, punting out of the way. Stuckey, look at that. Just the grappling hook on the side of Mike Power. A little bit shallower on that outside zone 2, but now dives in. Into inside clip 2, and they're going to bring it down. The Vitor tires getting on the box at their first round of competition, courtesy of Rome Charpentier, second place in Long Beach. Welcome Vitor to the Formula Drift Championship as Ryan Turk sits in his cockpit, finds out who he might be going against, one of these gentlemen, or, again, still could be Kristaps Blush, TBD.
All right, as we watch the replay, this is a fun run to watch. The drivers look pretty evenly matched. You can see a little bit of hesitation and chase by Mike Power there on initiation, a bit of a bobble. But coming up the hill, he does a good job of staying with Mike Power. And right here through zone 2, like you said, Jared, he was not quite on the line that we'd like. He wasn't as deep as Power was, but watch Stuckey here in the chase during the transition. Pretty good placement, but fell off. It was not as close as you'd like to see him through the second half of that track. The first half was pretty solid. Stuckey was putting on some pressure, but I'd like to see more in this situation now that Power's going into the chase position. Power can put on a lot more pressure. It's going to give him an advantage to chase. And in the lead, Stuckey's got to just stick it to every single zone. He's got to get up high and outside zone 2 and put together a really solid lead lap.
Ryan laid it out. Again, Ryan Lontaine, one of 3 judges here, alongside Brian Egger and Chris Yule. Stuckey initiate. Look at Mike Power with even deeper aggressive angle. Is that the right approach? See, look at that. See, he threw so much angle at it, he kind of lost some ground. So Daniel Stuckey filled all that second outside zone. Mike Power has to forego that, but now watch. He's going to try to come back here. The M-Spec Performance S chassis out front. Mike Power, very aggressive driving there. Liked how he initiated, but was that too much? That's kind of where, again, you need to lie into, again, chasing. You might have a great chase run, but if it doesn't equate to adhering to what the judges are looking for, it's not going to work out and pay off in dividends.
Yeah, you really need to mimic what the lead driver's doing. The only way you can really do more than what the lead driver's doing is if you have a lot of proximity and you have the ability to stay with that lead driver while doing it. Throwing more angle in the chase position is just going to hurt you. You're not going to be able to maintain that proximity. And in this case, you could see in the chase position there that Power may not have had the proximity that you'd like to see from start to finish. There may have been oh, we're going to do a BC Racing side-by-side, Jared. This is exciting. So as we watch them come down the hill and get the cars initiated, the important thing to look at is proximity and the duration of proximity from start to finish. And on the left side, I believe we have Power leading. On the right side, we have Stuckey leading. And it's pretty evident on the first lap, on the left side there, the first battle, Stuckey in the chase is doing a better job in the chase position through the keyhole in the first part of the track. And you can see on the right side there, Power in the chase position was not as close, wasn't really putting the pressure on. And here's the second run on its own in the chase position there. You've got Mike Power trying to put that pressure on, but never really gets to the point where he's putting on enough pressure that we'd like to see here. And you can see in the lead there, Stuckey does an awesome job. Well, he gets kind of halfway through outside zone 2, but then fills the second half of it. and does a pretty good job of leaving the horseshoe. We like that mid-line exiting there. It gives the chase car a really good opportunity to get close. And in this position, I think maybe Mike Power's a little bit too far behind in that chase roll.
Good elaboration there on both runs, and obviously that second run there. Mike Power in that Type S S15. Daniel Stuckey in his M-Spec S chassis. Slide him left for Power, right for Stuckey, and Daniel Stuckey gets the victory unanimously. Stuckey, so unfortunately, I mean, was that kind of the big selling point for you in your mind? I know you're kind of talking through 3 versus that 2JS chassis. Great looking car. A lot of green on track. The grass in the cars and green all over. Forrest Wang zips past that inside clip. Look how settled that car is, man. Really good. I mean, you barely saw any chrome. The tire tread was pointed right out. Oh, buddy! Kyle Mohan nosing in.
Wow, Kyle Mohan got ahead of Forrest Wang there and really started bumping that front right corner of Forrest's car, not really giving him an opportunity to get into that inside clip. So we do want to see proximity, and I was really excited to see Mohan putting on one of the chase drives one of the best chase drives I've seen from him in terms of proximity, but he got a little too aggressive and he got ahead of Forrest Wang, and unfortunately took the line away from Forrest and kind of bumped that front right wheel. And in that situation, you can't fault, you know, a lead driver being bumped into like that for spinning. You're blocking that front right wheel, kind of locking it up there and making it really hard for the car to keep going.
Like you said, it's about proximity, but you have to mirror the angle. That's
Yes.
where I think a little frustration lies for me, where Kyle, okay, you're right there, but your angle, you're like a V. You're like the flying V. You're not the Mighty Ducks right now.
Yeah.
Watch this. So bing, bong, boom, like, and yeah, when he goes to counter, the tires hit. That's going to throw you off. Your wheel's
Sure.
going to get ripped out of your hand.
Yeah, and the thing is, when your inside front wheel like that gets locked up by getting touched by the other car, it just causes the car to pivot, to rotate, and around that tire, because that tire is slowing down. So you can see multiple hits there, and that second or third time he gets hit, it just is too much for the chassis to handle in terms of rotational force, and the car over-rotates there. And that spin will be blamed on Kyle Mohan for getting too aggressive in that situation and making multiple contacts with Forrest Wang's car. So I see Forrest Wang going straight back. I presume he's going back to take a look at his car. Yeah, Mohan's at fault.
Yeah.
So in this situation, Mohan would have to call a competition timeout to check his car. But in this situation, because Forrest was not at fault, he gets to look at his car and make sure, yeah, Mohan's at fault. And then Wang gets to look at his car without incurring a competition timeout. So this will not be on him to use that, but he does get time to look at his car and make sure that everything's fine. Mohan's considered at fault in this situation. Mohan looks like he's staying back. He's not going to call his comp timeout because he doesn't believe that there's any damage to his car, so he doesn't feel like he needs to do that.
All right, so as the 808 vehicle, big angle there, Forrest Wang, you know, just going through the course, always got good style. Did he have the speed right there? Regardless, Kyle Mohan was at fault. He just dove in, kind of, again, dove in at that front wheel. So, all right, when we come back, we'll continue here. Round 2 of the Formula Jet Pro Championship, the title fight. Ding, ding. That's right. Road Atlanta.
He drives overseas as well. I think it's his signature, really. And I'm curious to see how Turk will respond to that now that he's in the chase. Kristaps bumped him at initiation a few times and caused them to go check their cars out. So here we go with run 2.
Kristaps Blush, HGK, Eurofighter, BMW, GT Radial tires. Now past that inside clip, let's see how they transition in. And like you said, will Ryan Turk retaliate, or will he kill him with kindness? Oh, look at that. You see him go in on the inside. Don't know if there's contact there. Want to run that back. Looks like he might have gotten aggressive and then has to back off. This is a big shock to Ryan Turk's system here. I got to tell you, I don't think that Kristaps did anything to warrant for Ryan Turk to stop. I think, unfortunately, Ryan got aggressive, maybe had to back up. Was there contact? Did you see contact on initial take?
I didn't see contact. I think what happened is Turk went in real deep, trying to get close to Kristaps coming up the hill, and he had to decelerate, let's say, and it kind of caused him to pause there. So let's look at it from the drone. As he gets the car to angle, Turk is a couple of car lengths behind Kristaps there, but watch what happens to Turk as he comes up the hill. Kristaps,
Snap.
yeah. I'll have to look and see if Kristaps was smooth there, but I think he was. It just looked like Turk came up very aggressively and had to really slow down to avoid hitting Kristaps. And by doing that, he really stalled up. And it looked like Turk actually went 3 wheels off coming out of the horseshoe. And that's very unfortunate for Turk there, as that, if it is the case, will be an incomplete. And it looks like you can see there from that high-speed drone that Kristaps did a great job in outside zone number 2. Really got the car positioned nicely. It just looked like Turk was too aggressive coming up the hill and slowed down too late, too much.
Man, just an unfortunate situation for Ryan Turk, but stoked right now. Kristaps Blush maybe getting in his head, kind of living rent-free, both on the side of his car. Well, that's not rent-free. That comes with some body panels. But the Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla Nitto tires, the Rockstar Pilot, that is Ryan Turk. What's the 4-in-1? Well, we're about to find out, and I think it's going to be that of Kristaps Blush advancing. Car number 80 is back on U.S. soil. Kristaps Blush gets the win. The HGK Pilot gets the win. And let's see how they run. Chris Forsberg, one of the OGs, been out here since 2004, has always campaigned a Nissan since day one. Nissan power plant and Nissan chassis. Now coming past that inside clip, Chris Forsberg says the car's feeling good. That VR power that's got the GTR engine. Oh, and Castro looks like he slides off. He slides to the side. That's going to be an incomplete for Castro. And Forsberg completes on. And that will be a major advantage. Whoa, almost overshoots it there. Almost goes off into the dirt, but Castro understeers, goes off course.
You have to wonder if there's a mechanical issue since he's not moving yet. That's sort of what it seems like right now. As he was coming up the hill, it looked like he just car turned off or something happened to his car where he wasn't able to continue on. The car just came to a halt. So let's look at the initiation. Chris, huge angle there by inside clip 1. Castro did not have a huge amount of angle through there. As they come up the hill, right here, Castro, the car just gives up, comes to a stop, and doesn't move. Forsberg, on the other hand, is continuing on through the course, does a great job of exiting the keyhole there, bumper over the rumble strip at the touch and go, which is exactly what we want to see. Gets the car out wide to the rumble strip.
New Bakshi's prepared S chassis. But right now, it's Wang and Mohan, 808 versus the 99. Wang will be chasing down the Mazda Tricks Renewable Lubricants RX-8. Yellow Speed Racing NRG. Get Nuts Laboratory S15. And here comes the lone rotary up the hill. Looking strong. Forrest Wang back there quite a bit. Needs to gain some ground. He did have, that contact. I'm talking about Kyle Mohan against Wang, but Wang really needs to kind of step up here and get that proximity. I wouldn't call that an inactive chase by any means, but you could see again going against Mohan, there was quite a deficit there. As you can see, was that tempered? Was that strategy? Or was there just not enough juice?
Yeah, I don't know what the issue was there, but you'd prefer to see him closer. You can see at initiation, he was sort of close, but then he fell back quite a bit coming up the hill. A little bit of compression here as they come up to outside zone 2. Wang does get a little bit closer to Mohan here, and then on the way down the hill, he does have slightly better proximity. And like you said, Jared, it is not what the heck is it called, Jared? Inactive chase. Jeez, can't think of words today. So Forrest Wang will get the win based on the prior incomplete from Kyle Mohan. Pretty hard to overcome that.
Well, the Get Nuts Laboratory driver, Yellow Speed Racing NRG, Forrest Wang gets.
We get in less disagreements if we just say Rome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Frederick Osbo will get the lead run here. He qualified high. RCP, the Garagistic BMW. Let's see this Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota Supra on Nitto tires. Big initiation there for Frederick Osbo. He is your back-to-back and 3-time champion. He's your defending champion coming in that first outside zone. But Rome, right there. And look at that, he is definitely part of the conversation. Mimicking the angle, that was proper execution. Osbo finds a little bit more grip coming back down that hill. Maybe Rome getting a little bit too much breathing room in order to create that gap in between Osbo and Charpentier.
You know, Osbo did leave a little on the table there. We didn't see him fill outside zone 2, and this has been a very technical part of the track that's been difficult to achieve for the pro spec drivers, and it's proving to be difficult for a lot of the pros as well to really get up to outside zone number 2 and fill it. You can see here that Osbo is coming up the hill with pretty good steam, but right here slows down maybe a little too much, doesn't really fill outside zone 2. Rome is right there with him through the keyhole, and as they both leave, they drop a tire each. Coming over the rumble strip there at the touch and go, and through inside clip 1 is where Rome fell off. Now as they come up the hill, you can see here exactly what I was talking about. So Rome's really good on angle and proximity through here, but Osbo did not do a great job on outside zone 1. That's going to give Rome a big opportunity right now to really excel in that area. If he can get himself positioned so that he can fill outside zone number 1, he will give himself a big advantage in that area.
Rome, you know, just the way he's progressed over the years has been fantastic. You know, just I would say, you know, just leveling up, more seat time. Him and his team, they're having a lot of fun. He's always got a smile on his face. His mom, his dad, they're showing up. His wife, like, just always part of the conversation. And he's really gained a lot of ground over the years. And obviously proof of that is he's currently second in points. RCP, Garage BMW E36 coming down the hill, but he is going against our 3-time and defending back-to-back Formula Gym champion, Frederick, the Norwegian Hammer Osbo. The hammer being dropped, lifting up to that second outside zone. RCP, now watch this. This is where the veterans really shine here. The way they manage that distance and allow them to pass, but then gain that ground. Going from that keyhole down into that final clip, you'll see the veterans time that and pace that perfectly to slide right next to him. It wasn't exactly, didn't kind of prove my point there, but it was closer than you saw RCP getting to Osbo. Would you agree?
Definitely, yeah. And this outside zone 2 area is proving difficult for so many drivers. You can see Osbo just tapping that touch and go cone on the way up the hill, but look, Rome doesn't get in the box at all in outside zone 2. So Osbo is going to have an advantage there, lead to lead. They both drop a tire leaving the keyhole area. As they transition, I think Osbo maybe tapped that inside clip 3 marker as well on the way back down.
Just an FYI, the fans are saying 60-40, so it is, you know, obviously do the math there, but the needle going towards Osbo. So the fans on the online poll are saying 60% Osbo, 40% RCP. It's fluctuating as I'm kind of talking about it here. And Freddie, the Norwegian Hammer, you see him, like you said, missing that second outside clipping zone was RCP.
Yeah.
Back-to-back defending champion, inputting the scores. All right, so RCP second in points coming into this round of competition. Second place in Long Beach. We're only 1 round in. Currently at second round of 8. Rome in the green, yellow, and pink. BMW taking a look at the BC Racing Go for Gold. Side by side, instant replay, Ryan.
All right, looking at both of these runs, you can see the proximity is fairly similar coming up the hill here. You can see on the left side, Rome compressed really nicely with Osbo. Osbo was deeper in outside zone number 2 in the lead position, but the second portion of the track, Osbo is definitely closer to Rome than Rome was to Osbo. You can see both drivers, you know, making little compromises here and there, both tapping a cone here and there, but, you know, dropping the tire outside of the keyhole is always an issue. We're trying to get the drivers to stay off of that little triangle of grass.
Let's take a look at this one more time. Frederick Osbo and Frederick Osbo. Osbo gets the win. Hey, here's a fun fact. FD, a brand new ride for him, only the second event he's ever been in, and he was driving the wheels off this thing, but he's going against Trent Beecham. He's got a new ride, he's got a new Steve. This Blonex, next in tires, BMW, massive angle there from him. Backs it in, massive angle. Look at Trent Beecham. He was right there all up in that smoke, in that second outside zone. And that second inside clip, I mean, James Dean is driving this like he's driven it his entire life. People would dream about drifting like this. And this is second ever event. He looked like, I mean, he looked like Vaughn just driving behind the wheel. No, you know, no offense to James or Vaughn, but I'm just saying it looks like he's driven it his whole entire life. Well done.
So the amount of angle running through inside clip 1 was pretty great here. Trenton in the chase position, can't match the angle, straightens up, coming by that touch and go area and goes pretty much straight there up in outside zone number 1. James does not fill outside zone number 2. Another driver unable to get up there and fill that zone. He got right to the inside line of that zone, gets the bumper hanging over the touch and go. Does a great job at inside clip number 3. But that was a great drive from James Dean. Very high energy, lots of throttle usage, big angle everywhere. And you can see in the chase position there that Trenton Beecham was a little bit behind on everything that was happening, right?
He was just on initiation, he's like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, holy cow. The amount of angle, it seemed like, and keep in mind, James Dean is the first ever right-hand drive 2024 Ford Mustang RTR. That's what's cool, too. They built that specifically for him.
Just for him, right?
Yep. Yeah, so it seemed like he was just backing that thing in, and Trenton's like, wait, you're... James Dean chasing down Beecham. Welcome back, James Dean, to Formula Drift. Trent Beecham coming down the hill. Little straight line approach, handbrake into that first clip. Now coming up the hill is Beecham, James Dean on pace. Into that second outside zone. How do they manage? Oh, look at that. James Dean, a bit of a hookup, diving in on the inside. Having some issues there is James Dean. And James has an issue from that outside zone too. What went wrong? And that looked independent. That did not look like, I don't know, did Beecham throw him off? I really don't think so at first glance.
I don't think so either, Jared. It looked like either a misshift potentially or some kind of hiccup in the car that caused him to not be able to get back on throttle. He didn't have the power to put down there. And he ended up quite a bit inside. It looked like potentially 2 tires off in that keyhole, that grass teardrop, as you called it earlier. So on initiation, both drivers looking good. Trenton did run over that inside clip, but right here is the big situation, the big error from James Dean right there. It looked like the car stalled up in a very serious way, and he managed to keep it at angle by, if it was a shifting issue, he managed to jam it in gear and get back on throttle, but all of his momentum was gone by that point, and he wasn't able to continue around the teardrop, so he ended up on the inside. This drone view here will give us the best view of what happened. So look at the momentum, the pace that James is carrying, and the car just slows down. That was 2, potentially 3 tires on the inside on that teardrop. And if that's 3 tires, that'll be an incomplete. And you can couple that with the incomplete from Beecham on his lead. That's 2 incompletes in the chase position, which would force us to revert to just looking at the lead runs.
So Ryan, assessing that, it does seem that he did have 3 tires off, so that would essentially deem James Dean an incomplete. But Beecham had an incomplete on his chase run as well. So we always say lead versus lead, chase versus chase. Obviously, who had a better lead when they led, who had a better chase when they chased.
Yeah. So in this situation, we're looking at 2 incompletes from the chases. We revert to the leads only. We can't look at the chases because they both had incompletes there. And looking at the leads, you're analyzing who put the car better positioned on the track. So let's look at the BC Racing side by side and look at the initiation. James Dean's chasing leading on the left, and on the right you see Trenton Beecham. So both drivers coming up the hill here pretty well. Both looks like James is a little bit deeper in zone number 1. Trent did a great job in outside zone number 2. And coming down the hill, looking at positioning here, it's kind of hard to see through the smoke. We did get a little glimpse of what James Dean did on the touch and go. He did a good job there. Couldn't tell with Trent because there was too much smoke. But we're going to have to see what the judges all chose.
The other judges. You are a judge too, by the way, Ryan.
I already have mine in. I don't know what they did.
All right, so again, lead versus lead, chase versus chase. Taking a look, James Dean, Trenton Beecham, and it looks like James Dean gets the win. James Dean gets the win. And we talked about, again, both thing there.
Yep.
So, but you got these new names, Nick Novak, and I was talking to Amy Bakshis, Odie's spotter last night. They've been coming here for 13 years, so that's quite a bit of time as well. But we'd love to continue their success here today and tonight. Nick Novak, Odie Bakshis. Novak shreds off that back bumper. Odie Bakshis now chasing down Novak into that first outside zone. You can see now coming to that second outside zone. Here goes Nick Novak, gets into the dirt, but Odie Bakshis pedals back. Novak dives in on that second inside clip into the keyhole now. out to the touch and go and that final inside clip. So a bit of a lull in the action there. What kind of role does that play in their heads, man? And obviously the equipment, the cars, keeping the tires warm, that changes the dynamic as well.
Yeah, it certainly does. You can see Novak here struggling a little bit. He misses inside clip number 1. As he comes up the hill, does a pretty good job in outside zone number 1, but then outside zone 2 goes a little too deep, goes 2 tires off in that zone. Manages to keep the car at angle, not over-rotating, not straightening, and Odie's right there with him. Odie did a great job of adapting through that area, kind of being patient and letting Novak get back on track. And we can see that Odie did a pretty good job in the chase position. So as they initiate from the drone view, you can see Odie doing a good job of mimicking angle, transition, end line. A little bobble from him there, but he's doing a great job of staying in proximity throughout the entire run.
The Rockstar Energy Drink Top 32, Odie Bakshis advances on through it into the top 16. Congratulations. BC Racing, Mustang RTR Spec 5 FD on Nitto tires. Chelsea Denofa coming down the hill. Say howdy, get rowdy. Little Monchi entry for Chelsea Denofa. Big angle from Denofa coming up the hill. I know they swapped the engine last night. They had some issues, but it seems to be 100% right now. Gets into the dirt, a lot of dirt. Wow, he hung it out there for quite some time. The sand people getting blasted right here in front of the judges stand. And now into that final inside clip. Chelsea, man, he was out there doing more, again, RTR, fun having off-road than he was going on track.
And now we're getting all that dust in our face. Oof. All right, great initiation from both drivers. You see a bit of a gap there behind Chelsea, but Reeder is getting tighter. He kind of took a tighter line slightly there through zone 1. Chelsea goes 1 tire off through the entirety of outside zone number 2. Reeder's right there with him as he comes through the second part of this course. And Reeder right there, lost some angle trying to avoid that inside clip. It looked like he was going to drop a tire there, and he sort of tried to push the car out a little bit and not go offline or off course there, but had a bit of a bobble in the car. So a bit of a correction from Reeder right there. Chelsea just needs to put together a cleaner chase run, stay close longer through the run to improve on Reeder's chase run. And Reeder, going into the lead, needs to get deep in zone 1 without dropping a tire in zone 2. So deep in 1, deep in 2, and he should be able to best Chelsea.
Tighten it up, dial it in, put a bow on it. Travis Reeder past that inside clip. Thought Chelsea would be a little bit more on the side of Travis Reeder as they go into that second outside zone. That's what you're talking about. Reeder did what he needed to do. Does Chelsea have it? He transitions out. Keeping a consistent distance is Chelsea Denofa, but not exactly the aggressive Denofa that we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
Seemed like he just had a kind of a buffer. Just couldn't get him all the way there, which, hey, kudos to Travis Reeder.
Yeah, Travis put together a really great lead run. You can see coming by inside clip 1, nice and tight there. Transitions up the hill. Great job coming up through outside zone number 1. Goes nice and wide up to outside zone 2. Fills pretty much the entire thing. Chelsea's right there with him, but kind of falls off a little bit as they come down the hill here, as they transition to outside zone, or sorry, the inside clip number 3. This is going to be a tough one, Jared. Let's watch this again from the drone. Chelsea didn't get the car rotated super aggressively at initiation, kind of rolled into it there. Coming up the hill, where does Chelsea position his car? Just ever so slightly inside. Doesn't go quite as wide in zone 2. Yeah, that's a tricky one, Jared. They're kind of trading mistakes, trading achievements, let's say, throughout the course.
I'll let you kind of analyze that, and I know you are as you kind of talk and walk us through. Ryan Lontaine, co-host as well as judge. So, and Brian Eggert, Chris Ewell, alongside Ryan Lontaine. Our four judging panel, 3 judges being utilized at each round of competition. Brian Eggert sat out at our first round. And right now, again, 3 judges. Chris Ewell, Brian Eggert, Ryan Lontaine, Robin Ishida sitting out this round. Assisting Sean Adriano with driving steward duties. Chelsea Denofa, Travis Reeder, one more time, and there you go. OMC across the board. I absolutely agree with that. Just, you know, if these are judged runs, didn't have that X factor, had mistakes on either side.
Yep.
GR86. Dylan Hughes, Royal Purple. He's running that running the 2J under the hood of the Royal Purple BMW. I'm gonna have some words with him at halftime as well. Oh my gosh. Oh my gooshy. Gooshy over-rotates, and that will be an incomplete. Dylan Hughes does need to continue, so the dozer will need to continue through the course. He will have an advantage as long as he keeps it sideways. And he does. So Dylan Hughes, the needle just went completely the side of the dozer. Dylan Hughes in that purple BMW. Oh man, again, issues for, unfortunately, man.
Yeah, I wonder what happened
Been a
there.
bummer day here as you know, we had the 4 Toyota vehicles. You know, Frederick Osbo, he's still in, but right now, Jonathan Castro, Ryan Turk, they're knocked out. This is the last of the 4 Musketeers.
Yeah. So you can see Gucci throwing too much angle at the car at initiation, gets the car over-rotated, does manage to get around inside clip 1, but unfortunately that'll be an incomplete from him for straightening up after that. And then you see in the lead position, Dylan Hughes really putting together a good run, nice and smooth, got up to outside zone 2, and finished the track there with authority. And then you can see as Gucci crosses the line, the car snaps to the left and he goes off the track, hits one of the 3-2-1 cones, comes back onto the track without any other.
Jeff Jones on the lead, Simon Olsen in the chase position. Jeff, you can see those things fire up. Well done by Jones. Olsen jumps right to the side of Jones. Simon Olsen's second ever event in an S chassis and an LS chassis. Both these guys running LS supercharged. Jeff Jones, great job there, filling all that second outside zone. Simon Olsen dives in, but unfortunately came in a little too hot and had to back off. So you saw him fall out of angle. You saw Simon dive in on that inside clip 2 and had to fall back, and that straightened him out, fell out of angle.
Yeah, he got himself positioned a little too far forward next to Jones, and that put him in a really tight spot when that inside clip was coming up. But let's start the runoff here by looking at the initiation. You can see right there that Simon Olsen hit inside clip 1, but coming up the hill, positioned himself a little bit better. As they get to zone 2, Jones gets his tire in the box for outside zone 2, but Simon gets too far to the inside, and he's on that tighter line that puts him at a very disadvantageous position. He's really going to be on a tighter line, which means
2004. Again, we've seen him just grow up over the years. I mean, 16 years old back in the day. And here he is, you know, just a grown man with, you know, corporate Toyota sponsorship. He's been actively working with Toyota for quite some time. And here we go, the second half of this battle. Simon Olsen, Jeff Jones. Olsen coming down the hill. Vortex charge LS. Initiates in front of Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones going with that straight line approach. That Eagle AutoWorks Nissan 370Z. Talk about another driver that's really progressed. Jones, but not progressing to the side of Simon. Needs to get in that proximity. See if that big drift energy shows up. Shooting out some body parts, some clips. I mean, a lot of shrapnel there. What, big drift energy?
was that the base from the
I don't know.
inside clip that went flying?
Just stuff everywhere.
Well, Gucci's down on the ground. It looks like he made his competition timeout.
Yeah, we'll see if he's 100% though. You know, kind of inspecting, throwing everything at it.
As we inspect this replay, Jeff gets a bit of a stepped initiation behind Simon, I believe, there. Coming up the hill, they both transition nicely. So Jeff does not fill outside zone 1 the way that Simon did. Simon does a good job on outside zone 2. Jeff is right there. As they come out of the horseshoe, they both drop a tire on that grass area that we despise so much. Oh, that was a bumper that Jeff destroyed after Simon lost it from hitting inside clip number 3. So Jeff has a bit of a hesitation on transition there. Does not go to outside zone 1. Doesn't go as deep in outside zone 2 as Simon either. And then coming down the hill here, they both drop that tire. So they both have errors in the chase position. It's going to come down, I believe, to that lead run.
Yeah, did either of them have a more dominant lead run to take out the other? Jeff Jones, Simon Olsen waiting. You can see Chelsea DeNova entering that Pedal Commander burnout box. Tonight, it's going to get lit, courtesy of Type S. Type S got some special deals on site only at all Formula Drift rounds of competition. So here is how our bracket is shaping up. 3 more spots to fill. Odie Bakshi's waiting to find out who he's going against. But Gittins back in at Robbins, Hurst, Field, Hull, Kelly. And so is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle riding with Jeff Jones. Rockstar Energy Drink Top 32. Who's advancing on to 16? This track has seen some abuse. Again, that keyhole paved just for us 20 years ago. Just went kind of just past, and now they paved that just for us. Jeff Jones, Simon Olsen, slide him left for Jones, right for Olsen, and Jeff Jones gets the win unanimously. Jeff Jones gets the win. Simon Olsen, unfortunately, knocked out. Very excited to see how Simon Olsen progressed, and he's just getting better and better with that S chassis being debuted there in Long Beach and the Bakshi's family.
All right, so this is a one more time battle, Jared,
Yep,
starting from scratch here. So this will be run 1 in the one more time battle between Chelsea DeNova and Travis Reeder. They both made some mistakes that we didn't like in run 1, in the first battle in both of their runs. So we're looking for them to clean it up now and really put together solid lead and chase runs so they can find a winner.
And also feature that X factor, which has become so apparent and a criteria that we're looking for. And we know both these guys have it. Chelsea DeNova initiates, barely nudges that inside clip. Now up the hill into that first outside zone. Second outside zone goes Chelsea. Travis Reeder. He's got great proximity. And there you see Chelsea rip away, hitting that rev limiter. Oh, wow, Travis Reeder shuts it down. Reeder and that Nicholas Old Red BMW GT Radials shuts it down, exiting the keyhole. Didn't see if he hit the dirt or did he just kind of shut down mysteriously.
It looked sort of like the car just straightened up. Maybe it's a mechanical, maybe a misshift, maybe a brake, who knows. So looking at the initiation, both doing a great job. Chelsea is at great angle coming up the hill. You can see in the chase there, Reeder stumbling a little bit through outside zone 1, but comes through outside zone 2 pretty well. And as they exit the horseshoe, that is exactly where everything shuts down for Travis Reeder. Chelsea continues on and does a great job in the lead position. He cleaned up his lead tremendously compared to the previous battle. So Chelsea laid down a really solid lead run. He stayed in outside zone number 2 pretty well through it and didn't drop the tire like he did in the previous battle. So this is a much cleaner run from Chelsea. I liked his angle up the hill through outside zone 1 to 2. He really used the angle in the vehicle to slow down and did it really precisely.
All right, here we go as we are taking a look. Travis Reeder initiating. Chelsea DeNova in the chase position. Travis Reeder needs to put down a heater of a run. Travis, the heater Reeder, now blazing a trail up to that second outside zone. Fills all of it. Chelsea DeNova out of the keyhole, and Reeder with that wide swing. See that line? He kind of went wide and then tightened it up to that touch and go. And Chelsea kept pace. So unfortunately for Reeder, that mistake coming out of the keyhole and that Nicholas GT Radial BMW Nicholas, be sure to check them out.
Yeah, great proximity here from Chelsea as he comes up the hill. You can see him drop a tire there at the downhill touch and go, but mimicking what Reeder's doing in the lead. Reeder did a great job in outside zone number 2. Little off of inside clip number 2, but this is where he made his major mistake. Went way wide here and just gave Chelsea the opportunity to stick it to his door coming down the hill. So Reeder did make a couple of mistakes there, and you can see that Chelsea DeNova is going to advance on as all 3 judges choose Chelsea DeNova.
Chelsea DeNova gets the win. He's going to be going
on initiation, unfortunately. Yeah. So he's going to be, like you said, at a big deficit due to that. We'll see what happens here if he was able to fix it.
Yeah, that gets a little hairy there on initiation for Dylan Hughes. How much does he commit? Because if that car snaps back and Dylan's right there, you don't want to get taken out. But it looks like Dylan Hughes does continue on. Ken Gucci into that second outside zone. He fills all of it. Now, Royal Purple BMW, you can see him nosing on in. Whoa, he stays into it. And now, coming down into that final flip. All right, so let's take a look at it here once again. And again, that was a big major spin for Ken Gucci. What I want to focus on here is outer zone 2 into inner clip 2, Ryan.
In this situation, you can see that Gucci in the lead is very cautious. Look at him coming up the hill. He's not 100% sure. The car's losing angle here and there. He's not committed on throttle. He's not really maintaining the pace that we'd like to see. And he got a weird line through there coming to inside clip number 2 that I think surprised Dylan. I wouldn't put that fully on Dylan because of, even right here, you can see that Gucci's not 100% sure going by inside clip 3. He's lifting off the throttle. He's not committed. He's a little cautious. You can see that big bobble there coming up the hill. So I can't 100% put that on Dylan. Dylan was doing his best to stay close there, considering that Gucci did have those issues with his run in the lead position. But you have to give it to Gucci. He went out there and put out an attempt, threw the car out there, threw caution to the wind, and did the best he could in the lead position with definitely with a car that was hurt, that he wasn't 100% sure about, and that takes a lot of commitment in itself right there, with throw the car down the hill at that speed.
Our final battle of the Rockstar Energy Drink Top 32, Dylan Hughes, Kenshiro Gucci, and Dylan the Dozer Hughes